Welcome to the kitchen with Under the Cosh. We're cooking up a storm again this week.
Ready, steady, cook.
John Gregory this week.
I'll tell you what, you like this, don't you?
That was only ever going to go one way, wasn't it?
Oh, my throat! You wipe me for my glasses.
A lot of clubs to mention, isn't there?
Yeah. And I can't mention any. Aston Villa manager.
Yeah, Aston Villa, Derby.
Wickham manager.
Wickham as manager. QPR. India. King of India.
Oh, I went to India, didn't
Lovely.
Went to India.
England, yet another England international.
Yeah.
That Aston Villa team, by the way, we're talking Stan Collymore, Ginola.
You can't concentrate to eat the cream, can you?
I've never seen you so happy.
Coffee?
2 sugars. Just to go. You coming in, John?
Yeah. Have you ever run a marathon?
Yeah,
What a start! I know it's not the question that I've ever asked before, but we obviously know there's a story leading into it, don't we?
Yeah, I ran my first one in 2000. And unfortunately, I'd lost my mother-in-law with Alzheimer's. And when I saw what it had done to her, she'd been ill for about 10 years. And obviously, I was very touched by it, to be fair. And I kind of wanted to do something about it. And so I decided to run the marathon that year. I can remember the race itself. I say a race, it wasn't. I wasn't exactly racing, but we'd obviously, it was in April. We'd qualified for the FA Cup final. We played West Ham the day before. I stayed over that night in London and went straight out to Blackheath, obviously for the start. And we started off, and we'd gone about 5 or 6 miles, and I saw this bald-headed guy in front of me. He was about 30 metres ahead of me, and he looked like Luca Vialli from behind. And obviously we were playing Chelsea in the final. Luca Vialli's the manager of Chelsea. And in my head, my little thought process is going, if I don't catch him, we ain't going to win the final. So I need to get past him. I've got to get past this Luca Vialli. And I never did catch him. I didn't. I tried and tried and tried. And obviously they beat us in the final as well, 1-0.
Think it'll cost of that?
But yeah, little things like that. I mean, sometimes, it's all superstitions and everything. So on the running, I got beat by Mr. Tickle.
Did it turn into a sprint finish?
It was a sprint finish down Pall Mall, I'm going down Pall Mall, sprint finish. And suddenly I heard shouts from all the people that are lined at the side, all the fans and supporters and that, shouted, "Go on, Mr. Tickle." And I'm thinking, who the fuck's Mr. Tickle? And then suddenly he ran past me. So it's sprint finish to the line, and so I got beat by Mr. fucking Tickle.
I didn't give you one on weird parts.
On the run, yeah. So I obviously wrote to all the managers that year, all the managers in the Premier League, and made them aware of the charity I was running for, and if they'd like to make a donation. Out of the 20 managers, 19 of them obviously replied, and they sent checks through, and over a period of a couple of months leading up to the marathon itself, I was getting donations from the Premier League managers. And I'd come in the office one day and my PA would say, Sir Alex Ferguson has sent a cheque today, and I immediately want to know how much it was. And she said, he sent £1,000. So I said, fantastic. Add that to the total, and various other managers were sending £1,000, 1,500 quid, 500 quid. And then one day I walked in the office and my PA, Debbie, says, we've had a cheque come in from Mr. Arsene Wenger. I said, how much is it? She said, 25 quid. Arsene. I said, how much? I said, he's missed off a couple of noughts there, I think. But so Arsene had really splashed out, sent me 25
I think I'd have sent it back.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Arsene, but no thanks.
If we take it right the way back, Northampton, how did that come about? Starting there?
I was a 13, 14-year-old kid playing football in the school team and in the county team. And I grew up in Cambridgeshire, which is not a real hotbed of football. I used to write off letters to clubs asking for trials in those days. You know, have you got any trials? Can I come and hopefully get them to sign me? I wanted to be an apprentice. Northampton was one of the clubs that wrote back to me and said, "Oh yeah, we've got trials in 3 or 4 weeks or whatever." So I ended up going over. They took me and wanted me to sign as an apprentice. And I started in July the 1st, 1970. They'd just been beaten by Man United, 8-2. George Best scored 6. I think he'd been suspended for a month. And he came back, and his first match back was against Northampton in the quarterfinals, I think, of the FA Cup. And I was delighted to be there, you know, and I've just kind of worked my way up, became a professional and played in the first team. Phil Neal was there with me, the Liverpool and England fullback.
I read was it when he went to Liverpool that you thought, this is where I want to be, that I need to stick in? And
I came in one Monday morning, and by then I was like a first year pro. I came in one Monday morning, and we played Rotherham on the Saturday away. Our goalkeeper got injured and got carried off, and back in those days you didn't have a sub-keeper. And Phil Neal went in goal that day, and Phil at the time was a bit like me. He just played anywhere and everywhere. Wherever he was asked to play, he played striker, midfield, right wing, left wing, right back, he played centre back. Anyway, this particular day he went in goal. Went in on a Monday morning and obviously going about your normal duty, getting ready for training, and couldn't find Phil Neal. I said, anyone seen Phil? Where is he? He's not in, is he, today? What's he up to? And someone said, he's gone to Liverpool. And I've gone, what's he going to Liverpool for? Thinking like, it might, like a relative.
Picks him up.
Yeah, or a relative. I thought a relative had died or something. That was my first thought. Oh, somebody in the family. They said, no, he's gone to sign for Liverpool. And I said, well, Liverpool, how do they know about Phil Neal? And I was so naive at the time. They said, well, they've been watching him for the last few months. They've been watching him with the intention of maybe taking him if he's good enough. And I think the fact that he played in goal on the Saturday, I later found out the scout was so impressed that he can even play in goal, and he kept a clean sheet. They said, we've got to take this guy. You know.
He's gone as a right back / sub-keeper.
Yeah. But anyway, he'd gone to Liverpool, and he was going to sign for Liverpool that day. And I suddenly thought, they've obviously been watching us. Why aren't they fucking taking me? You know, that was my first thought. Shit, I never thought like a first division club would come and watch us play. You know,
what league were they in? Northampton?
In that fourth division, League Two, and so obviously that day he went off and signed for Liverpool, and that really inspired me to think, shit, you know, big clubs are coming to watch us. It's about time I got my act together, otherwise I'm going to be here forever. And that sort of really inspired me, you know, to sort my act out. And I mean, I've always worked hard. I always felt I sort of worked hard on the training ground, but this was an opportunity. Fucking clubs like Liverpool are coming to watch us, you know. There must be others. And that was then my intention to try and get away. I started doing extra bits after training, you know, suddenly I used to sort of go off and do stuff behind a bushes or trees or something, you know, do extra running, sit-ups, press-ups, all that kind of stuff. Just anything to try and lift my fitness levels up.
Did you feel you had to get behind the trees because people just call you a busy bastard?
No, yeah, maybe.
Fucking little busy cunt.
Straight behind them bushes again. I don't know what he's doing. A lot of grunting.
Exactly.
Comes back with a sweat on from there.
I knew as soon as I mentioned that, you'd pull me up on it, yeah.
Did you fix down one position at Northampton?
No, that was it. I just played everywhere, wherever the gaffer wanted me to play. And that turned out to benefit me as I went to Villa. You know, I went to Villa and I suddenly played in every position. I wore every shirt at Villa because in those days it was 1 to 11. You were numbered 1 to 11. And I think in the first couple of years, I played in every shirt. I wore every shirt.
Was that a little challenge for yourself once you got so far?
It was. I had number 8. I'd never worn the number 8, which was Brian Little's shirt. We obviously didn't have our names on the back, but number 8 belonged to Brian Little. That was his number. Yeah. And he wore that every week. And we played Liverpool at home, funnily enough, I was up against Phil Neal. And it was Easter Monday, and I hadn't worn the number 8, and I was playing centre-half alongside Alan Evans. Me and Evo were playing central defenders. And I went up to Roy McLaren, who was the assistant manager, and I said, is there any chance I can wear the number 8 today? I've never worn the number 8 and I need number 8 to get the set. He said, you better ask the gaffer, Ron Saunders, you know. And I thought, oh, fuck me, no chance. So I bottled it really. I thought, I can't ask the gaffer because he'll just go mental or tell me to fuck off or something in his usual manner. And I actually found the courage from somewhere, went up and asked him if I could wear it. And he said, yes, make sure you win. You can have number 8 on. And that completed the set. I wore the whole outfield numbers, you know, from 1 to 11.
Did you win?
Beat Liverpool 3-1, yeah. And they were, you know, champions.
Top
They were
side.
top, always top.
Did it get to the point, though, where I know you said it was a benefit to play in different positions? Did it ever get to the point where you thought, I want to get fixed down in one?
Yeah, and obviously as I progressed, as I got older, I kind of wanted to play in one position. Funnily enough, I went to Brighton as a right back. They signed me as a right back. I ended up in centre midfield. Then I went to QPR and Terry Venables played me at right back to start with. When I first went there, I played first half a dozen games, I think, as a right back, and then he put me back into midfield. So it served me well, and I think I got in the England squad when I was 29. Played in centre midfield. I ended up playing right back against Hungary in one of the European Championship matches. And the fact that I was able to play, I had good versatility, you know.
Like a Phil Neville, wasn't it? Phil Neville could play right back, left back, centre mid for England.
I think Rooney could have as well. I think Rooney could have. He never had to.
Yeah.
Because he was he was always first choice in his own position. But I always thought that Rooney had the ability. He knew what it meant to be a central defender or to be a right back or to be a left back. And many times in games, he used to chase back in wide positions and win the ball back. But yeah, you're right. Neville was the same.
How come you ended up leaving Villa?
As a player,
Yeah.
I wanted £25 increase, wage increase. When you at the end of the season, I think it would be after long time after you guys. But at the end of the season, you used to go and see the manager, and he would negotiate the contract with you. So we didn't have an agent, and it was just you and the manager, and he'd tell you what you were getting next season.
Were you half scared of him?
Yeah, we all were. We all used to, at the season finished, so on the Monday morning, we'd all have to go to the training ground in a cafeteria, and we'd sit outside the manager's office, and one by one, we had to go in and discuss your contract for next season. And you'd all sit out there saying, what are you going to ask for? Oh, I'm asking for 100 quid. I want 100 quid pay increase, you know. At the time, I was on £150 a week, and I wanted 250. So you'd all sit out there and say, I'm asking for this and I'm asking for that. And one by one, they'd go in, come out and say, what did you get? And they'd say, fucking £5. Because the gaffer would just say, this is what you're getting. And you'd just say, okay, boss. Thanks, boss. And you'd come out, and one by one, they'd come out and they're all just, and I thought, no, I ain't moving. I want £100 increase. That season, I played 40 matches for the first team. I've missed 2 games through suspension. I'd been captain twice when Dennis Mortimer was not playing, when he was injured. And the top wage was £250 a week. And that's what I wanted. And I went in and he offered me 225, which was a 50% increase on my salary. And I said, no, I want 250. I said to him, there's about 5 players here that are on £250 a week. They didn't play 40 games between them last year. Most of them been injured and they hadn't played the games. So I said, I played 40 games for you last year, Gaff, and I want 250. And he said, well, you're not getting it. You're getting 225. And that was Ron. He would not move. And so I said, well, I'm not signing a new contract. I'll just stay on what I'm on. And on the Saturday, we were all flying off to Mallorca for a week's holiday. Week's piss up, basically, end of season. And I said, by the way, I'm not going to Mallorca. I ain't coming. Not unless you agree to give me 250. And he said, no, you're not having it. And I said, well, I'm not coming on Saturday. He said, you are. It's all booked and paid for. I said, I ain't coming. No way am I coming.
You're showing some bollocks here, by the way.
Yeah. I tell you what you are doing. You cut your nose off to spite your face.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good on that fucking Magaluf trip. I'm not bothered about the contract bit. I'm going to Maggers.
So that was it, really. And anyway, I just said I ain't signing it, walked out. And 2 weeks later, he sold me to Brighton.
And you just playing hardball. You didn't want to leave.
Oh, I didn't want to leave. No. I was very happy there. Yeah. Very happy. Aston Villa,
25 quid.
Well, no, we were on about this last night.
Get that for a marathon.
No, I this in comparison to today. Say if me and Johnny were negotiating where we were playing, we were thinking, is it the equivalent of 500 quid a week for us to say that? No, I want that extra 500 quid. You know, in the comparison of money back then.
Yeah.
Was that big money?
Oh, it's big money. Yeah. I mean, I was on 50 a week at Northampton. I went to 100. When I signed for Villa, he doubled my salary basically. And then after my first year, he upped it from £100 a week to £150 a week. He gave me a 50% increase. And in his mind, he'd put me up another 50% at the end of that season to 225. And I wanted 250 because I knew that was a top wage. And I couldn't understand how he wouldn't give me the same wage because I was playing the matches. I was playing 40 games a season, all over the place, left back, right back, centre half. I played up front one night at Tottenham in Ardelia's and Ricky Villa's home debut. I played number 9 that night. We beat Tottenham 4-1 at home in Ardelia's first match at White Hart Lane in '78. You hadn't been born. So I just said, that's what I want. And like I said, a couple of weeks later, I got a phone call. He said, Brighton have phoned. They just got promoted, Brighton. For the very first time, they were playing in the top tier of English football. And they wanted to make me their new signing, the record signing, 250 grand they'd offered. And Ron said, do you want to speak to them? I said, yeah. And I got £285 a week. And loads of bits and pieces, signing on fees and all that shit. And it wasn't I mean, it wasn't really about the money. It was just about, hang on a minute, I've worked my nuts off this season. I just, out of respect, I think you should give me a bigger salary. But
so that's still, like, in comparison, 250 grand you've signed for, and you still, I say only, on 275 quid a week.
Yeah, like, but that was like the top salary. It was.
Did Villa win the league like the next year?
The following year, 81, they won it. I went in 79.
Yeah.
And I missed out, really. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. Did you regret it? Yeah, I did. Sort of 2 years later, they were champions of England. And 3 years later, they were champions of Europe, winning the European Cup. So, you know, I look back on it and thinking, maybe I did rush away a little bit too quick. I'm not saying that I'd have been in the team. I'm not saying that I'd have been in the team because obviously I moved out. Desi Bremner signed as a midfield player. So, and he signed one or two other players as well. And obviously he built a team to win the First Division Championship in those days. And I always look back on it and thought, maybe I might have been part of it, maybe not.
Mm. Feeling like winners, champs?
Champions.
That's what you should be feeling. Thankfully, there's Premier League strikers were took a leaf out to your Blackburn.
Needless. But carry on.
Under 30.5.
Defence is on top this week, weren't they, chaps?
Yeah. Thank you to the Fairplay Exchange for sponsoring the series. And thank you to everybody who took up the Cosh bets.
What have we got this week?
Big game this weekend. Man City, Chelsea.
And that is a spicy one.
Feisty.
So what do we think?
We're saying there's going to be a red card.
Just one red card in the game?
Just a red card.
2 yellows and a red fine?
Yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely,
got a red card, hasn't he?
But there's history, isn't there? With a
needle. Can we say that? I never use that term, needle.
So what we're saying is...
It's a popular one in the football world, isn't it?
There's a bit of needle. What is needle?
I don't know.
So we're saying there is gonna be a red card.
If there's a red card in the game, we win. If there isn't, then everybody else wins with a Cosh bet. All you've got to do, sign up, put in that code Cosh. They'll send you the bet, put your $5 on, and it's a $5 against us. Mm-hmm. If there's not a red card, you get a tenner.
Remember, there's no commission to be paid as well. So there's no bookies involved.
Well, that's the good thing about fair play, isn't it? No bookie. We need another bet this week between us. You could do with losing a bit of timber, John, after that holiday.
Okay, all right.
Am I wrong?
All right, Slender. So what are you saying? Should you have a loss, a weight loss?
What, over the week?
Yeah. Bit of fun, innit?
I've not got much to lose, like, you know.
Thing is, your favourite.
I think we should go percentage-wise.
We haven't got any calipers. We'll go scales. We'll go old. We'll go old school. On the
So
scales.
who can lose the most weight in a week?
Yeah. Are we in?
Not really. But if we're doing it, we're doing it now.
Fiver who can lose most this week.
Right.
We'll have a weigh-in next week.
Go on then. We're in. We're in.
Right. So, yeah, get yourself involved. Download the app if you haven't already. Fairplay Exchange. Use the code Cosh and you get the Cosh bet. And then you can also have a bet amongst your mates.
Like we are.
Actually, I'm going for it.
I know you're quite competitive when you want to be.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, you've got to be over 18 and please gamble responsibly.
You mentioned Venables before.
Yeah.
And there's loads of the old England lads saying
Yes.
how good he was.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
So I was 27 when I met him. When I signed for him, I was 27 years old. And I'd been a pro for 9 years. I'd never worked with a coach before. Terry was a coach. Not so much the manager. There's lots of people. They say Fergie was a manager and not a coach. Cloughie was a manager and not a coach. But Venables was a coach. He taught me. I used to go in every day. We all did. We used to go in every day and you'd be in Brighton early, and you'd see Terry was out on the training field putting out the cones and the discs and the bollards and everything and all the footballs. Everything was all organised and you just think, oh shit, I wonder what we're doing today. Oh, what's that he's doing? I've never seen that before, you know. And and honestly, every day was something new, something different. And it was all coaching. It was all to do with the match that was coming up on the Saturday, or just improving you as a footballer. And I was 27, and I remember saying to him one day, "Shit, I wish I'd have known you when I was like 16."
I was going to ask that.
You know, my God, and you'll hear so many. I remember I was with Neil Ruddock one night, and he was talking about Venables. He's the best. Neil Ruddock is saying the best coach he's ever worked with.
Was he a manager as well?
Yeah, obviously he was a manager as well, but
Like man manager.
I wasn't scared of Terry, but I was scared of Ron Saunders. You know,
Yeah.
they were different in that. Everybody was scared of Cloughie. Everyone was scared of Fergie, but Terry was could have been more of a disciplinarian. I think.
Yeah.
I felt at times, but he got away with it with being such an amazing coach. He was a Guardiola in his day. Seriously, he was a Guardiola in his day. He would come up with training routines and just enjoyable coaching routines. Everything was about the football. Everything was about looking after the ball. Everything was about passing. He taught me as a midfield player how to get the ball off the back four, even though you had somebody marking you. You know, he would take you on the training ground and teach you stuff.
It sounds basic, doesn't it now?
Yeah.
But
back then.
listen, at the time, training, you'd come out, the assistant manager would stand there with a fag on and they'd say, right, 4 laps, and you do 4 laps of the pitch, you know, and that was the warm-up. And then you went in 11v11 where you kicked shit out of each other, or you played the reserves, and that was a training session for the day, and you do that the next day and the day after and the day after. There was nothing was very structured back in those days. No.
Do you know, before you signed for QPR, did you know then that you want to be a manager and a coach, or was it meeting Venables?
No, meeting Venables.
Was
That
it?
was
Yeah,
where the
really.
inspiration came from.
I remember having a conversation with him one day, and he said to me, he said, "Have you thought about what you're going to do when you finish?" And I said, "No, not really." Usual answer. I think most of us said that. Didn't
Get a
we?
pub. Everybody gets a pub, doesn't they? Get a pub.
And he said, "Have you thought about coaching?" I went, "No, not really." He said, "Well, why don't you start thinking about it now?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm 27, 28 or whatever I was at the time." And he said, "No, start thinking about it now." So I said, "What do you mean?" And then he'd say, "Well, you know, go on courses or write stuff down and this, that and the other." So I started writing down training sessions. I'd go home every day and whatever we did that morning, I'd just write it all down. I'd diagrams and everything. And I've looked back on them over the years, you know, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that this morning. I remember when we did that with Terry back in whenever, and I'd put on that training session and I'd use it myself. Maybe put your own slant on it, you know, change 1 or 2 things in it. But he inspired me, to
Do
be
you
a
think
coach.
that he saw something in you as a player,
Maybe.
that you had something to go on and be a coach and a manager?
Maybe. I was a bit mouthy on the pitch, you know, so I was always...
So no manager ever said to me, "Why did you do coaching, manager?" Nah, get a pub. Did you improve as a player then in them 2 years at Brighton?
Venables was QPR.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm looking at your notes.
I know.
Yeah, sorry. Did you improve as a player?
Yours all right, yeah.
Under Venables, yeah. Yeah, I went there, I said, when I was 27. And after about a month, he called me in the office one morning. He said, "You'll play for England this year." And I went, "Yeah, fuck off. No chance." And he says, "You'll play for England. Just keep doing what you're doing." And he was about a year out. I was 29 when I finally got called up for England. And that was down to him. It improved me so much as a player, as a footballer.
Was it so far off the radar until that point, England?
Well, yeah. I mean,
thought
the fact that I was 29,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just no chance. Not even likely to be considered, you know. But the fact that I was playing for QPR, we won the championship, the old second division, in '83. We won it by 10 points. I know we had the plastic pitch and that, but we won it by 10 points. The previous year, we got to the FA Cup final under Venables. And our first year back in the Premier League as such, so first year we went to the FA Cup, second year we won the championship by 10 points. And my third season there, and Venables' third full season there, we finished fifth in the Premier League. So we just got promoted and we finished fifth.
Never get to mention that. Like,
Fifth.
Cluffy always
And
gets to
qualified
mention
for the
doing
UEFA
stuff
Cup.
like that.
Yeah. So
Venables.
and obviously as a player, you couldn't help but improve. It was down to him. And then we lost him to Barcelona. Barcelona came in the summer of '84. They came in and
QPR to
took
Barca.
Terry. He went to Barca.
Was you
And
hoping for a call-up?
Sorry?
Was you hoping for a phone
I
call?
was fucking sat by that phone.
You think if you'd have been 25, 26?
Maybe, yes.
You might have got...
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But I was coming up to 30. But the point I was going to make was he went to Barcelona, who had not won La Liga for 10 years.
Yeah.
Cruyff had won it 10 years before Venables, and Venables went in his first season, they won La Liga. And it was down to him.
He's got to be underrated, hasn't he?
In my opinion, he got involved with too many other things, you know, away from football. He just got involved. He had Hazel, remember he used to write stuff for the television series. There was a television series called Hazel, and he was one of the co-writers.
Just stick to what you know, Terry.
No, exactly. And I'll tell you,
He's doing episode 3. They're on third
but we
season.
suddenly stopped seeing him Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and he started coming in Thursdays and Fridays. Great, again on the training ground Thursday, but he hadn't been here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, and because he was so busy with various other things,
Spreading himself too thin.
Yeah, and I think he just took his foot off the gas a little bit. But I mean, as you said earlier, you speak to the England boys, they'll tell you just how great he was, you know, with the national team.
He played under Bobby Robson
Yes.
with England. Was there any,
Robbie Bobson? Bless him. He used to get I loved. He's brilliant. I mean, it's just pure football. He's just he used to eat it, drink it. He was there all the time. All he ever talked about was football, you know. And
was he a coach like Venables, or was he more of a manager?
No, he's more of a manager. And obviously, I was there with Terry Butcher and Russell Osman, who'd been with him for 10 years at Ipswich. And Butch would mimic him, you know, because he knew exactly. He would get in a team meeting. He just knew Butch knew what the manager was going to say, and then he'd shout, Trevor, and then we've got no one here called Trevor, and it would be Terry. He said he'd go, "What, me?" And he'd say, "Yeah, you." And it would be he was calling him Trevor. He used to get all the names muddled up.
And you had him for 10 years.
And he had him for 10 years. He said, "It's all right." He calls me Trevor every now and again. But yeah, it was brilliant. Very, very passionate. We sat there. We were playing Denmark European Championships at Wembley. Mark Chamberlain was playing right wing. John Barnes was playing left wing. And we had another player in the squad called Alan Devonshire. You remember Dev? West Ham boy. So Bobby's giving the team talk, talking to me and Ray Wilkins. We're in centre midfield. He said, "Get the ball out of Barnes here and get it out of Dev. Get it out of Dev, and then just get these two fullbacks are weak, you know. Just get the ball out wide. Get it out to Dev and get it out." And we're thinking, Dev's not playing. Mark Chamberlain's playing right wing. And he keeps going on about, getting his ball out to depth. So we all suddenly start looking at each other thinking, maybe he's changed the team. He's decided to play Alan Devonshire. So in the end, Don Howe, who's assistant manager, had to say, boss, you keep mentioning Alan Devonshire. Is he playing on the right side or is Mark? He said, no, Mark Chamberlain's playing on the right side. Okay. So, but that was his, he just, terrible with names. He used to get everybody's name wrong, but a great guy, very passionate about football. Like I say, he just lived and breathed football the whole time.
Going into management, did you see that you needed to almost reset your apprenticeship? You know, working as assistants, coaching. Did you see that as a because some players now get the job straight away, don't they? Straight into management.
Yeah, Chris Waddle went straight in at Burnley.
Yeah,
as player manager.
Didn't last long.
Didn't last very long. No.
Never had another job, did he?
No.
Barnes?
John Barnes went straight into it. Yeah, they're two outstanding players that spring to mind. You know,
not even modern. You know, Frank Lampard, Wayne Rooney. Players that are just straight in at the helm.
Brian Little saved my life. I finished playing, and he rang me and he said it just took over at Leicester, and he said, "What are you doing with yourself?" And I said, "Nothing." He said, "Come up and see me." He said, "I might have something for you." So I just went up and sat with him, and he offered me a job there as first team coach with Alan Evans as assistant manager, and the three of us, ex-Villa boys. And I just sat there with him, and I was just thinking, I'm just going to sit and watch and listen and see how he does it. He'd been at Darlington before Brian had, and he got them promotion, and he'd been very successful. That's why Leicester took him. That's really what I did, and we did it for 3 years. We got to 3 playoff finals. Got beat in the first 2, and then the third one against Derby, we won and got promoted. Went into the Premier League with Leicester. And Brian was obviously been very successful there. And I just watched him, how he dealt with everyday stuff and how he dealt on the training ground. The fact that there was 3 of us that all kind of knew each other, we all got on well. I was a midfield player, Evo was a defender, and Brian was a striker. And as a coaching setup, it was perfect, you know. And that worked. And then we went across to Villa, and I can remember saying, he wanted me to come with him. Brian said, "I want you coming with me to Villa. Me, you and Evo, we're going to go there." All ex-Villa players as well. So we knew that we'd be welcomed. And I said to him, a couple of years down the line, I might want to go and do my own thing. You know, I might want to just have a go. I said, I've sat and watched you for the last 3 years, and I'll sit and watch you. I'll commit myself to 2 more years with you, but I might just want to go off. And he just said, if you get the chance to go somewhere else, it means you've done a good job for me. And I shall make sure that Deadly doesn't ask any compensation for you. So, and I did a year and 11 months with him before I went off to Wickham.
Yeah.
But I did sit and watch him. I watched Brian, how he dealt with everything. Just listening and learning of how he did things helped me enormously when I eventually went out.
Was that a shock to the system then when you went? Obviously, you've been around it so much, but when you arrived at Wickham, what was involved? Them players knocking on the door, was it? I dealt with it
better. I dealt with it much better than had this been my first job.
Yeah,
you know, I dealt. Had I just come off the football pitch as a player, and suddenly gone into the dressing room, because you know, you've been there. I used to, as a player, I'd walk in the dressing room and it was like everyone's taking the piss, we're always having a go at each other, laughing and joking and everything, you know, what are you up to tonight? Oh, I heard you was out the other night, you, whatever, all the stories going around the dressing room. When I walked in as the coach, it shut up. It suddenly went quiet. Because they're obviously talking about me or the coaching, something to do with, you know, the management. They're talking about us. And you walk in, it suddenly go quiet. Suddenly you become the enemy. You really do. You are the enemy, certainly to some of the players. And you walk in and it suddenly went quiet. That hit me big time. You are suddenly the enemy. But without any doubt, Brian saved my life, you know, by taking me under his wing.
It's a baptism of fire, isn't it? Bottom of the league, bottom of Division 2. Do you know when you got the job?
Yeah.
What was your first thought that you wanted to do at Wickham? Yeah. What were you thinking? Morale's obviously low.
Yeah.
How am I going to get these lads up the table?
What you're not prepared for is the questions. It is like you are the decision maker. You say what time we're training tomorrow. It's down to you. It's not down to anyone else in the club. And they're at your door every 2 minutes. What time are we training tomorrow? What time are we leaving on Saturday? What time's the bus going? What colours are we wearing Saturday? Oh, we need to wear blue. We can't wear blue because they wear blue. You're telling the kit man, or he's asking you what kit you're going to wear Saturday. Then you got all the media stuff. I know Wickham, not a massive club, but there's still local media to deal with. It's just hundreds and hundreds of questions a day. Then you got players that want to see someone wants a day off, someone's going to a wedding, someone's going to a christening. Can I have Monday off? And it's constant. Saturday night, if you've lost at 5 o'clock Saturday night, mate, that is the worst place in the world to be.
Did you take it on with you?
You take it home. You take it to bed. You take Sunday morning. You get up and it's still there. You look at that result from yesterday, it's still fucking there, you know. And obviously when I went into Wickham, they were bottom of the league. And my first match was actually 0-0 at home to Wrexham. We drew 0-0. And then I think we played Crewe the following Saturday and lost 3-0. And suddenly that was a wake-up call for me, you know. I've gone in there, Johnny Big Bollocks, thinking, no problem, you know, we'll be halfway in a few weeks. Suddenly we got 1 point out of 6. And what are you going to do about it, JG? You know, it's down to you now. And it becomes your problem.
What you put it down to that you did pick up and got them up the table?
Well, slowly, things that we worked on in the team, which I changed. I went into a back three, 2 wing backs, you know, which tactically we changed it a little bit, which was a difficult transformation at first because they'd never done that. They always worked with the back four. You just suddenly change a few bits and pieces. I got a couple of loan signings. I took a kid called Neil Davis from Villa Reserves, striker, and brought him down. And suddenly things changed. We suddenly start getting win. And that thing, as I said, on a Saturday night, when you've lost, worst feeling in the world. Suddenly you get a win Saturday night. It's like the best feeling in the world.
Different to when you're a player?
Yeah, because as a manager, you kind of feel that it's all down to you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, even though players always get they get congratulated when you win. It's down at the players. You know, the manager. When you lose, it's the manager's fault. When you win, it's the player's fault. You know, so it's just a completely different feeling. You know, that I felt 10 times worse as a manager than when I was a player. Because when you're a player, you guys have played. You go home Saturday. It's not totally down to you. The defeat. It's down to everybody collectively. Or, you know, what we're pretty good at is shifting the blame. Well, it was him. It was a goal. it was the keeper. It was that stupid free kick. Or it was a manager because he made a substitution at the wrong time and all that shit. So you can always find an excuse. But as a manager, don't look for excuses. It's down to you. You're the one that's going to get the blame, whichever way it goes. You know.
Did you make a conscious decision? You played under, obviously, Venables, Ron, Arthur Cox. Which of them managers did you want to take most from?
A cross-section of Cox and Venables.
What was he like, Cox?
Cox was brilliant. A manager. He was a manager. He managed everybody. Weren't really interested in coaching. Didn't really do a lot in coaching-wise. But he'd turn you into a man, you know. And he wouldn't talk to you if you were injured. He'd fucking walk straight past you in the corridor. He would. He'd just fucking totally blank you.
You wouldn't have known him.
I'm Chris. Arthur.
I've been here 2 years.
He might just say, he might just mutter under his breath, "You can't fucking help me on Saturday." As he walked past, you can't fucking help me on Saturday.
Tell that one when you saw him in the tunnel one time and he said something to you.
I was at Leicester as coach, and Derby were in the same division. Coxey was a manager, and obviously in reception at a football club, it's busy as people going in and out, this, that, and the other. And suddenly Derby have pulled up outside, so they've come in and they're going through the reception to go down the dressing room. Coxey's the first one in, and I've seen her, mate, Gaffer, and he went, "If my lot want to win this fucking game, as much as I want to fucking win it, you lot are in for a fucking shocking afternoon. And then carried on walking. I just carried on walking. Never shook my hand, nothing. Completely blanked me. And I'm like, and obviously one of the boys in Gary Micklewhite, who was playing for Derby, he come out 5 minutes later because we were big mates. And he said, Gaffer's walked, after he said that to you, he said he walked in the dressing room and fucking pissed himself.
You knew what he was doing.
So he said, I just sorted him out. He said, I've just wound him up in reception. But that was him, though. He was a great man motivator as well, you know.
So you take the coach, Terry Venerable's coaching side.
And his management side, if you had a combination of those two.
Because from a player's perspective, it's not great if if you've got injuries. But in terms of just being focused, 100% focused on that, on the result.
He'd see you on the treatment table, and he said, "I bet he'd be fucking fit Saturday if we were in the cup final," and then just walk out. But and he'd leave you with that, you know. He said there was a guy called Bobby Davison, great striker for Derby, and they still sing his name actually at Derby. Again, come in one Monday morning. Arthur walks in. We were at the training ground. We're in sort of the canteen, and he walked in. He saw Bobby Davison. He said, "All right, Bobby." He said, "Yes, Gaffer, thank you." He said, "You weren't fucking Saturday," and just carried on walking and went in his office.
I like it.
It just leaves it
Pull
with
pins
you.
out, pull pin out, chuck it in, off you pop.
Like, you know, we didn't miss the fact that you were shit Saturday, Bobby. we've not missed that fact, and he's just carried on.
Noted.
Yeah, it's been noted, and he just letting you know. And it's just those little bits that just, you know, he's watching, he sees everything.
Yeah,
he's watching everything. He's letting you know that he knows everything about you.
Time for a message from one of our favourites, gentlemen. This part of the podcast sponsored by, there it is, Beer 52. This morning.
You beauty.
Do you want to have a butchers in the box?
Yeah, let's have a look. What have we got?
Those who don't know who Beer 52 are, they're the #1 craft beer club.
Subscription.
And is it, correct as if I'm wrong, is it Oktoberfest?
It was Oktoberfest in October, surprisingly. But if you're looking for some nice beers in for over Christmas, they're doing an Oktoberfest special. Some of the best beers from Oktoberfest at your house for Christmas.
Oh, it's the Oktoberfest magazine. So every box, you get the Ferment magazine, don't you?
What else have we got in there? These are the ones for you, John. Snacks galore.
Perfect.
Look at that. Easy Living, Session IPA. We've got a Crew Republic as well. Drunk Sailor, Indian Pale Ale.
Just a quick one, Chris. Do we have an offer?
Of course we have an offer. All you've got to do is pay £5.95 and you will get 8 craft beers on your doorstep, absolutely free, just by paying that £5.95 postage.
And you can, if you don't like them, like, because there's some dark ones, isn't there? Don't like the dark ones, you can go for the lighter option.
Yeah, you can just say, I want the light. I'm not into dark stuff. I like the light ones. And they'll only send you the light ones then. So, and if you, for whatever reason, you want to pause or cancel, just get in touch. Call them, pause or cancel at any time. All you got to do is go to www.beer52, that's the word beer and the number 52.com/Cosh. /Cosh. And you'll get those free beers on your doorstep, just a £5.95 postage. 76 games in charge at Wickham.
Yeah.
Were you surprised when the call from Villa come in?
You just never believe. To this day. We played Bristol, we were playing Bristol Rovers on this particular day, and in Bristol, and obviously Wickham as a club, we had to count the pennies all the time. We just travelled down in the afternoon and we stayed in the hotel in Bristol. And we have beans on toast at Uppers 4, you know, if you were lucky. If you were lucky, you might get some butter with it, you know. So we had beans on toast. One of the waitresses, and she come over and said, "Mr. Gregory, there's a call for you." And I said, "A call for me?" She said, "Yeah." And I'm thinking, well, why is anyone calling me here? Don't know what reason. So I went over to the phone, and this female voice at the other end said, "Hello, Johnny." And one of the only people I know that called me Johnny in that manner was Marion Stringer, who's secretary. She runs the club along with Steve Stride. who was a company secretary. So I'm thinking, Mary, what are you calling me for? She said, Stevie's looking for you. Now, she's the only person that ever called Steve Stride Stevie. So I said, Stevie's looking for, why is he looking for me? She said, well, he's outside your hotel. He's trying to find you. And honestly, I have no idea. So I said, well, he's here. Yeah, he's sat outside in his car. I said, okay, I'll pop out and see him. So I put the phone down.
Are you aware that Brian Little's resigned?
No, I've no idea. No. So I've gone out to the car and I see Stevie Stride, company rover. Everyone in those days had a company rover. And he sat in his car. So I've jumped in the passenger seat and I said, well, what's all this? He said, Brian's walked out. I said, what do you mean? He said, he's walked out today. He's resigned. And I'll never forget, he said, he's dropped us right in the shit. So I said, oh, right. So what are you doing here? I have no idea. I swear to God, I have no idea what he's doing there. And he said, we want you to come back. And I said, what as? And he said, as manager. And I said to him, I'll never forget it, how long for? Thinking again, you want me to come back for 3 or 4 games, win a few games, get away from the relegation zone, and then you can go back to Wickham. I really thought that's what he's thinking. And he said, so I said, well, how long for? And he said, forever. For however long you want. And I went, and then suddenly it hit me. He wants me to come back as the manager of Aston Villa. Fucking hell.
Wow.
It's like, oh my God. Really, oh my God. It was like, just knocked me over with a feather. Just, what am I going to, I'm under contract here. And I had the best chairman I've ever had in football. A guy called Ivor Beeks, fantastic guy. And I'm thinking, I've got to go and ask his permission, if I can leave. So after the game, I arranged to go and see the chairman and tell him what I knew. And up until then, obviously, it's been kept completely secret. In those days, you could. So now I've got to go and motivate this team to go and beat Bristol Rovers, I'm employed by Wickham. I've got to go and do my job properly. And fuck me, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Fucking Aston Villa.
Robson with names. Who's right on the left?
Yeah.
Julian Joshim on the right.
Who's right back, Gaffer? Not my problem.
Bosnich in goal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it was like, Gaffer, do you want me to do what you fucking like? It was, and obviously there's a huge part of yourself that says, come on, you got to act professional, do it properly, and try and focus. And we lost 3-1.
What was the period of time before you actually, from sitting down in the car to taking the job and it being released to the press?
24 hours.
Right.
So after the game?
After the game, I went into the boardroom, got the chairman out, and he said, well, you're under contract, we don't want you to go. Come and see me in the morning. Let's sleep on it tonight. Come and see me. So I went to see him about 8 o'clock the next morning. And he said, I want £250,000 for you, as compensation. You're under contract and da-da-da.
Was that fair enough, that? Was that
I was worth about I think my contract was worth about 90k, but he wanted £250,000. And it was Aston Villa.
Was a part of you thinking this could cock it up, this?
I'm fucking panicking. I'm making sure I'm saying all the right things at the right time. And I'm thinking, Doug Ellis might have changed his fucking mind,
Yeah.
Last night, he might have gone home and saw that, Wickham lost. Oh, Wickham, he's crap. Yeah. Wickham lost 3-1.
What am I thinking?
And someone else comes on the radar.
Yeah, because I think Rude Hullett was being linked. Might have just been in the press. I don't know.
There was... Brian left that night, and on the Wednesday night, there was 10 photographs of 10 prospective managers for Villa. Some were out of work, some were in work. Hullett was one of them, and there was various other.
Were you in the 10?
No, there was not one. There was not one photograph of me, not even mentioned. But there's these 10 people, all sort of very well known managers, very experienced managers as well, that all kind of suited Villa at the time. And
I wonder what price you were with the bookies.
Been a good price. I could have got a good few quid
£250,000
myself. And
I'll pay that myself.
Paid Wickham off, yeah. Anyway, we ended up negotiating a deal. Doug offered 100,000. They wanted 250. He ended up giving them 250 and a pre-season friendly. He gave them also that we would come down pre-season, and he wanted all the gate receipts. Wickham wanted all the gate receipts from it, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think there was about 8,000 people came pre-season, all paying £20 a head or something. So they made good money, and all the burgers and chips and pints, everything else they do. So yeah, and then I signed that day and did a press conference at 5:15 that night. And I didn't know Doug, and his nickname is Deadly. I thought, fuck me.
Deadly Doug.
If I lose 3 games, I'm out here. You know, if I lose 3 games on the trot, mate, I'll be gone. He was a pussycat, really.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was a pussycat.
When you told your wife, she was like, how the fuck's that happen?
Yeah, well, I told her that night. You know, like you often say, I never slept a wink last night. That is the one night in my life I never slept for 1 second. Honestly. I'm going to Aston Villa. I'm going to be the manager. It's
Pinching yourself.
fucking hell. Honestly, it was unbelievable. 4 o'clock, I get up. That morning, it's 4 o'clock. I still haven't slept. I've tried and I can't sleep. And I'm going to go for a walk. I need to just fucking go for a walk. My head's spinning, and I'm going to be the manager of Aston Villa. I go out for a walk, and I'm walking around my block, around the housing estate, and I'm thinking, what if I suddenly bump into a burglar or something, and he pulls a knife out, and we end up having a fight, and I get stabbed, and I die. I'm never going to be the manager of Aston Villa.
I'm going home.
I'm going home, really. So I fucking went straight back home. I did, because I thought, if I see somebody and he attacks me or something, so I'm thinking, I'll never be the manager of Aston Villa. And I was just churning over everything in my head, mainly about the huge prestige this job brings, you know,
And the pressure.
and the huge pressure, and he's asking me to come and save them from relegation because they were heading that way, and things were really low in the club and the dressing room and everything.
But the expectation will still been there because they finished 5th the season before, didn't they?
Yes.
Under Little.
Yes.
So even though they're struggling, there's still that expectation to get
Absolutely
straight back up there.
And you know, obviously we went in and we won. We won a lot of games, and suddenly it all changed. I mean, I knew the players. There was only one player that was different. Was Stanley Victor. He was the only difference from
when you left.
From when I left. 16 months. I'd left 16 months before, and all the players were still the same.
You obviously did manage to lift it.
Yeah,
that 3 months from 13th to 7th.
Finished 7th,
Europa Cup spot.
Which I never had in my contract.
Didn't think it were possible.
Well, we were 16th or 17th, I think, at the time, and I didn't. They put a contract in front of me, and I said, "Give me a pen, quick, give me a pen."
The burglars didn't get me.
Chairman, sign this. Chairman, sign this quick.
How did you deal with? I mean, this. No disrespect to the Wickham. You know, you're saying about the queue outside the manager's office.
Yeah.
That queue will have been full of big names at
Villa. It helped that I knew them. I'd worked with them all, so I kind of knew them anyway.
Different kettle of fish though when you're manager. Isn't it?
Totally. But no, it was awkward. There was obviously I inherited Stan from Brian. He was the only, as I said, he was the only change from the year before, and he was very influential in the club. Not always in the right way, not always in a good way. You know, he had there was a feeling, you know, it was awkward in the dressing room at times with Stan. He had a lot of people that didn't like him. Didn't like him because, you know, he didn't always give his best in training sessions and obviously in matches and this, that, and the other. And I got some quality out of him.
I was going to say, as a manager,
you're
not really bothered about the changing room being divided and stuff. If he's doing it every single Saturday, you think you just got to take that on the chin. But he's fucking performing.
I worked with McGrath. Paul McGrath was there under Brian. We inherited him when we first went in there in '94. Paul McGrath was there, and Paul never trained. and he used to sit in the gym. We had a gym that looked out over the training field, big glass window. He used to sit there on the immobile bike, you know. He'd just sit there on the bike, pedaling away, not very fast, with a cup of tea, and all the lads would be out in a fucking force 9 gale, you know, at the Belfry, the training ground. He used to come from the Belfry to our training ground at Bodymore Heath, and the wind and the rain, and you know, and it would be freezing cold out there, and we'd be out there training, and Paul would be sat in a nice warm t-shirt, a pair of shorts, cup of tea. Then he'd have a bath and go home, and he'd be like that every day. On the Saturday, he was usually the best player, Paul McGrath.
And the lads can probably take that as well.
They didn't give a shit if he didn't train, but it's on the Saturday when it mattered. Macca was usually the best player on
getting
the field.
The results, getting the win bonuses.
So he could do what he wants. Stan was a different kettle of fish. That wasn't the same. That wasn't the same.
Because I remember the Liverpool game. Was Liverpool one of your first games?
That's my first game, Liverpool.
Yeah, and
we
he was
won 2-1.
unplayable.
He scored both. No, he scored both that day and won the game. He won the game for us against his old club.
Did you think you got a Paul McGrath at this point?
On the my first training session, evidently Stan headed a ball. He scored with a header, and one of the coaches came up to me and said, "You've cracked it with Stan." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "It's the first time he's headed the ball for 6 months." Serious, but he was serious. One of the coaches said, "That's the first time he's headed the fucking ball for 6 months." And I went, shit. Anyway, first game, he was outstanding. He chased fullbacks. He was brilliant. And if he is the most talented player I've ever worked with, the most talented, not the best, but the most talented. Stripped off, he's unbelievable. He's got amazing physique, like 5% body fat. Sprint, he could sprint. Left foot, right foot, in the air. He was colossal. Brilliant. Talented, so much talent. But it never all came together at the same time on a match day when it mattered. We played Atletico Madrid on the Tuesday night away in Madrid, and he never moved an inch. Never moved. He just loitered around the pitch. I took him 5 minutes into the second half, I took him off. And from what he'd been on the Saturdays compared to what he was on the Tuesday night, which is miles apart.
They must be the most frustrating players.
But I got the Tuesday night performance, I got more of them than I did the Liverpool performance. And just every now and again, it'd suddenly turn it on. You think, oh, he's at it today. But the story I was going to tell you about was dealing with players. We played at Sheffield Wednesday in my first few weeks at the club. We played Sheffield Wednesday away at Hillsborough. Ron was the manager, Ron Atkinson. Before the game, I sat him down in the dressing room. I'm announcing the team. And I've got 4 strikers, of which I'm going to pick 2. I've got Joachim, Yorke, Milosevic and Collymore. 4 very good strikers. I've got to pick 2. So I've picked Joachim and Yorke. I'm playing them 2 up front. Milosevic and Stan are subs. So Yorkie has missed the team talk. He was out putting tickets on or something, and I've announced the team in the dressing room. So no one knows what the team was until I've announced it. Yorkie suddenly comes back into the dressing room. The players now start to get changed. He said, Gaffer. He said, sorry. He said, I was putting tickets on. He said, am I playing? So I said, yeah, you're playing. He said, who am I playing with? So I said, Joachim. He went, yes. Straight away, and that tells you everything. He just went, yes. And we warmed up, in those days, 5 subs. So there were 16 of us as we go out for the warm-up. The physio had marked out the warm-up area over the far side of the pitch. So we go over the far side and got the balls out and that, and we're just warming up. And then we started off the proper warm-up, and I've looked at the numbers. I think there's 2 missing. Milosevic and Collymore are in front of the dugout over the far side of the pitch, near the tunnel, kicking a ball to each other. And I'm thinking, look at those 2 fucking idiots. Because they're not playing. These 2 have never fucking spoke to each other. You know, they weren't mates or anything. They don't even talk to each other ever. Milosevic and Collymore, they're from different worlds. They don't even talk. Now they're best mates because none of them are playing. It is exactly what you're saying. You know, it's exactly what you're saying. You know, how you do it. And I thought, fucking leave them. Bollocks to them. So we joined we've done the warm up and then finished the warm up, gone in, got ourselves ready for the game. And I know that I'm obviously might have to do something about these two, but at the moment, my team is more important. I've got 3 points to win. Anyway, after 20 minutes, Ian Taylor playing central midfield, great lad, by the way, great lad, great player. He gets an injury. He's got to come off. So I've got to put someone on centre midfield. I've looked at the bench thinking, Gareth Barry, 17, never played in the first team ever before in his life. I've looked at him and went, come on, Gareth, on you go. And like, I could have picked Collymore or Milosevic, put them on. I thought, no, fuck you. I've got Gareth Barry, young kid. Actually, the day I signed, I think he turned 17. On you come. We stuck him in centre midfield. And he was brilliant. We won 3-1. We won 5 on the trot away from home. And Gareth had made his debut, played centre midfield. And that was it. We've gone back to it. And I just left Collymore and Milosevic. I should have really maybe called, nah, fuck it.
Did you? When was the next time you needed them or used them?
I don't know. I don't remember. I think I would have had to use them at some stage, but the victory said more than I could have said.
I speak a lot on here about managers having to make a statement, and sometimes it's going for the big characters in the changing room.
Yeah.
Do you think that was maybe a chance for you to say, call them out on it for the benefit of the rest of the lads, really, and so the rest of the lads go, fuck me, he means business, and make a point of digging them out?
I think the victory was almost like an answer. It was almost like the players were speaking kind of on my behalf, because I was pretty tight with most of them, to be fair, because I'd been there before, so I knew them all anyway, and I was pretty tight. I got on really well with everybody, and I lost it once or twice, but I didn't really have to lose it that often. I was very vociferous even during the matches, and obviously at halftime every now and again. But Stan, I'd already had so many conversations with him.
Did you have sit down one-to-ones?
Yeah, many times, many times, and there was demons that he was dealing with on a daily basis. Was he open in
talking about them at the time?
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would sort of say, he was having a hard time with this and a hard time with that, and then of course Stan went off and had the problems in Paris with Ulrika. It's like every day I'd spend an hour dealing with stuff regarding Stan, and another hour dealing with the other 20 players. It was always issues with Stan, and obviously then that Ulrika thing blew up, and then he come back pre-season. He sort of said he's going to get his head down now, and I'm going to come back a week early than anyone else, and I'm going to come back and work hard, and this is going to be the season and all that. And I was great, yeah, I'm with you and all that. And he come back pre-season. He was sponsored by Diodora Footwear, and he's come back, and all the media found out that he was coming back a week early. So they're all at the training ground, all hid behind trees and God knows what else. Going to take pictures of Stan out on the training ground, and he wears a pair of Nike trainers. And he's sponsored by Diodora.
Come on, Stan.
So all the pictures of him wearing Nike are all over the newspapers, and Diodora just said, sorry, Stan, you broke your contract. End of. I think he was earning about 250 grand a year, which back in the day, five grand a week.
Did that affect him again?
Yeah, well, it's something else, And again, then afterwards, I need to comment on it. Why did you let Stan wear Nikes when he's sponsored by Diodora? Suddenly it's down to me. And again, it's more problems to deal with, and you want a happy life. So yeah. So we parted ways in the end. He went across to Leicester.
I mean, Yorke was a different kind of problem for you, because Yorke was doing well for you.
Oh, Yorke was outstanding. The reason I had a problem with Yorke, he actually said, I don't want to play for Villa anymore. He actually used that phrase, this, that, and the other. Everything was about going to United, and Mark Bosnich was at United, and that's his big mate. So there was a lot of stuff going on behind closed doors, with Bozzy and and Yorkie. So I know that Alex was speaking to Bozzy and Bozzy was speaking to Yorkie, and it's not a problem. It goes on in football. It's not a problem. But the biggest thing for me was I'm losing my best player. Simple as that. Nothing to do with the money, nothing to do with anything else. I don't want to lose this guy. When I came in, we had 11 matches left to play and we won 9 of them. And Yorkie was outstanding. Outstanding. We played at Goodison Park. He scored twice at Goodison. He was scoring every other week. Last match of the season, Penenke, Chip Seaman. It just about touched the net. It just about reached the net, you know. But only Yorkie could do that. He was brilliant.
What about this for a quote, Johnny?
Go on.
If I had a gun, I would have shot them.
Yeah. That's how I felt.
Is that how you felt though at the time when he?
Yeah, he kept talking about United. We'd had an offer of 8 million for Yorkie, which Doug would have fucking taken straight away. And I kept saying, no, he's not going. Basically, he's not going. I can't lose this player. He's a brilliant player. He is my team. Everything we built a team, and we're still building a team around him. So I couldn't let Yorkie go. And Alex had been on. I spoke to Alex 2 or 3 times. He started offering me some of his squad players. You know, he was trying to move them on. I'll give you this, and this, and you give me Yorkie, and we'll give you 3 million quid or something. You know, I'm not interested. He's not going. I can't lose this guy. He's a great player. He's a great player. So it went on, and first league match of the new season. This is now my team. You know, we started a new season. We drew 0-0 at Everton, and he never moved an inch. Honestly, Yorkie, he sulked for 90 minutes. He was a pain in the arse for 90 minutes. Obviously, it's part of his plan. And it was just coming towards the end of August. So the August transfer window would close on the last day of the month of August. And he didn't move an inch. So played Everton on the Saturday. And on the Monday, he come into my office. And that's when he said those words to me. I don't want to play for Villa anymore. And I was really insulted. Because this is my club now, you know.
I know you've got your Villa hat on. Can you see it from his point of view?
No.
I can see it from my point
What
of view.
about, yeah. I was going to say,
Yeah.
you know, when you had that opportunity to go to Villa from Wickham
Yeah.
and you're wandering around the streets, you can't
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
Dwight Yorke's there at that point for him,
Yeah.
his point of view.
Yeah.
Took him a while to get going at United, didn't it?
Yeah,
Was
but
he win the
when-
treble next year?
No, it was that season. It was that season they won the treble.
So can you, from his point of view,
Yeah, I could, but it's so involved in everything that went on at the club. And this was now my 3rd stint there. You know, I've been there as a player and as a coach, and now the manager. And I was just really insulted that he could say that. I don't want to play. You don't want to play for Aston Villa? Are you crazy?
this is on Sky Sports News, you know, if I had a gun, I'd shoot him.
If he had a gun, he wouldn't have got there.
But that's how I felt.
You got 12 million for him.
12.6 million.
With that, you signed Dion and Mercer.
And Merce, yeah.
That must have been a pincher moment in itself, coming from Wickham. And like you said, shoestrings. And then all of a sudden you've got these budgets to play with.
The money side of things was a kind of big shock to me, because even as a coach, as the first thing, I didn't really know what they were on. There was I was the coach, first team coach of Villa. We're in the home dressing room. We had a match on the Saturday, so we're in the home dressing room, and the following Saturday we got a free weekend. It's international weekend or whatever. So I'm like first team coach. I'm on £1,000 a week as first team coach, 50 grand a year. Company car, all the bits and pieces, as many Muller yogurts as you fucking want. You know, so I'm sat there and...
All the flavours.
all the flavours, yeah, all the flavours, especially strawberry. I used to have loads of that. I'm in the bath. We had a big jacuzzi bath. Full of yogurt. so we're sat there in this big... Gareth Southgate, Andy Townsend and me. So I'm sat in the bath. I'm on £1,000 a week. And I thought I was doing okay. They're obviously earning more than me. much more than me. Andy says to Gareth, what are you up to this week? And he went, I don't know really, not a lot. We're fixed up to go away. What about you? And Andy says, I'm going to Disneyland. And I've gone, you going fucking where? Going Disneyland, what, America? He said, no, Disneyland Paris. I said, oh, right, okay. So what you taking the missus and the kids and that? He says, yeah. So will you fly across then? And he went, no, we're actually getting the Eurostar. We're going across on the train and da-da-da and this, that and the other. And yeah, all this is sorted. And I've gone, fucking hell, we're going to fucking Disneyland, Jesus. And then Andy says to Gareth, what are you doing, Gareth? He said, we're going to New York. I've gone, fucking New York? Fucking New York? And he said, yeah. So Andy said, are you going on Concorde? And he went, no. He said, we tried to book Concorde. He said, but they're full, so we're just going on normal. So business class, obviously. So I've gone, fucking Concorde. And I said, when we had a few days off, we go to the mother-in-law's. Which you did. You take the kids to see the mother-in-law. You had a couple of days off and you might get fish and chips or something like that. They're flying up there and suddenly the money thing come to me, you know. At the time, they're earning like $3-4 a week, which was a huge amount of money back in those times. And you could fly to New York and you could travel to Disney World Paris, you know, because of the money that are on. And that was when the money thing starts to kick in and you just realise, you know, footballers today, my God, they're earning staggering amounts of money. Mark Bosnich's last year with us, he signed a 4-year deal, I think. In his last year, he was getting $9,000 a week, which I was still earning £1,000 a week. He was as the first team coach, but he was earning $9,000 a week, which was incredible amount of money at that time when most players were earning $2-3 a week. Bozzy was on $9,000 a week, and it was massive.
I can't in many other industries where the workers are getting more than the boss.
No, true.
That dressing room, it almost separates in two. So you had the boys about town, I'm guessing Hendry, Crouch.
I didn't have Crouch.
Crouch wasn't there.
No.
But then you had the other side of it, like Dion, Southgate,
Yeah,
Ian
when they
Taylor.
started coming in, when the likes of Dion came in, obviously, as you said earlier, we used the money from Yorkie with Merson. Merson was the first one in.
How was he with you?
He was brilliant on a match day. He was fantastic on a match day. Usually the best player. I didn't know the extent of the problems that he was having, you know, off the field. He'd come in, he was in my office every day. He'd always come and see me about something or other. Something went right, always moaning about something. Can I have a week on Thursday off because I'm whatever, you know, there's all that. Yeah, it's never a problem, Paul, whatever you want to do. Because again, on a Saturday, he was brilliant. Good trainer, always up and down with his personality, depending on how much he'd lost the day before. But I didn't know the extent of it. I didn't know how bad it was. When he came and negotiated, when he first came down from Middlesbrough, his agent came with him, obviously, and told us that he was earning he just signed a new contract at Middlesbrough, believe it or not, and that he was earning this, and this over the next three years. And he lied because he wanted to get the same from Villa. He wanted us to pay $1 million first year, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 5-year deal. He was on £1 million a year for 4 years. So it was bullshit. So I said to his agent, you made me look a fucking complete prick in front of my board because I've told him, you told me this, so I've told them. Anyway, he said he's got a few gambling debts, so he's just trying to get an extra few quid. One day he came in to see me, and he said, why have we got a day off tomorrow? And I said, well, you need a day off. I said, we've had 3 games in 10 days or something, you know. I said, all the boys need a bit of a breather. Even we shut the kitchen, we used to shut all the staff to stay at home and shut the kitchen and everything. Just everyone get out. And we'll have a day off or 2 days off or something. Anyway, he said, I don't need a day off. So I said, well, what's what? He said, you know, 3 weeks ago you gave us a day off. He said, I had £7,000 bet on the Indonesian Tennis Open final. And I said,
Jesus.
And I said, right. And he said, I didn't even know who the 2 players were. And he said, because I had a day off, I had nothing to do. I ended up losing seven grand. He said it lost. So why you give me a day off tomorrow? And suddenly you kind of realise, I mean, this is a serious problem he's got here.
And
I
at
can't
that
treat it any
time, in
different.
that era, was there any support for you there in dealing with those issues, which
No.
you've never had to come across? You talked about Stan there.
No.
Talked about Paul. These aren't things that you're qualified to deal with.
No, not in the slightest. And you kind of dealt with them as best as you could. But as I said when I spoke about Stan, I spoke about mental health issues.
It's not something that you've been exposed to
I've never
before.
I've never had that problem.
You can only go off your personal experiences.
Yeah, really.
And exposure to the mental health issues that people have wasn't as prevalent then.
No. And I didn't really give it. I didn't give it the time of day. I mean, at that time, that's how I've been brought up, man. I'm 69 years old. My generation were brought up.
Any problems, it's
If you're a
suppressed.
geezer, you need to look after yourself, mate.
Yeah.
No one else is going to look after you.
Yeah, and I think it's very, very much seen as an illness now, is it?
Yeah.
If you've got a problem with your heart, any organ,
Yeah.
it's seen as the same.
Right.
Do you still lose sleep over the not giving you 5 million for, is it?
No,
is it?
I still suffer a bit from the FA Cup final, losing to Chelsea 1-0. And maybe I wasn't courageous enough with the team, with maybe the substitutions, maybe the tactics, should have really gone. We were a team at the time. We were very fit. We had a lot of energy. The team had a lot of energy. We won a lot of games in the second half, we could come back from being behind. There was the famous one of beating Arsenal at home. We were 2-0 down at half-time. Bergkamp and Anelka. And we turned it around and we scored 3 in the second half. They were the champions of England. We beat them 3-2 at Villa Park. And because of our energy and our strength and desire, we had a lot of really good players that never gave up, And I think that's how I always felt as a manager. And in the final, I thought if we're 0-0 half time,
Got him.
we'll kick on, and we were 1-0 down though at half time, and or were we? No, I think we were 0-0 at half time.
Yeah.
But anyway, I always felt we'd win games in the last 20 minutes because of our energy that we had and the fitness levels we had and the desire that remained in the team. We just didn't kick on that game. We just didn't kick on. And it haunted me, to be honest, and stayed with me for a long time. And the thing was, you arrange a dinner that night, a special dinner.
On the off chance of a win.
Thinking, you're going to celebrate. And we'd had a parade around the city of Birmingham on the Sunday that had been organised, that we still did, by the way. You think...
What could have been?
Yeah.
At that stage.
So
reflection.
things like that stay with you. And obviously I was to blame, and I still am. I was never able to go back and say, well, it is a Champions League spot or something. Of the
Bit more context on the... Is it one? You went top of the league, didn't you?
Went top of the league against Bolton. On the Saturday, we were 2-1 down at Bolton. We won 3-2, went top, late October, last Saturday of October. And I wanted Muzzy Izzet, yeah. And Izzet was at Leicester. Leicester were in free fall. They were I think they were either bottom or in the bottom 3. We were top. Peter Taylor, I think, had just been fired at Leicester. And I think, can you remember the central defender, Jerry Taggart?
Yeah.
I think he might have been caretaker manager or something at the time. And they were in a mess. And I knew Muzzy quite well. I knew I could get him out of there. And I went to see Doug, and it was the first time he ever said no. He'd never said no before. And he was going to be £5 million. And he said to me, okay, so we sign him. Where's he going to play Saturday? I said, he ain't going to play. He'd sit on the bench. And it was almost like, but John, you're top of the league. You don't need any more players, And I said, but he'd sit on the bench. And I said, that 11 on the pitch is suddenly going to run around a lot more because Muzzy is sat there waiting to come on, and he's going to take somebody's place eventually. And he said no. So I called a board meeting. I wanted a board meeting the next day. So the other members of the board came, and I said the same thing, that I wanted to buy Muzzy Is It, and they just said no.
Was that the beginning of the end for you?
That was, hang on a minute, I'm flogging myself to death in every facet of this club, trying to take us forward, trying to get in that Champions League. And the Champions League at the time didn't have 4 teams, and it was about to change to 4 teams, and we can get in that. We can challenge. We're now top. We can challenge Arsenal. We can challenge Manchester United. We can challenge Chelsea. They were the 3 of our biggest opponents, and I wanted to drag us into the Champions League. Leeds, of course, were around at the time, spending huge amounts of money trying to get in the Champions League, and they wouldn't do it, and I just felt so deflated by it. You know, they don't want it as badly as I do.
Was it something you said to your missus about the only way from Villa is down?
Yeah, I just said we were at Villa, obviously in the job, and you know, everything's going great. We were always challenging at the top, and I said to her one day, you know, it's all downhill after this. Once you leave Aston Villa, it'll all be downhill. And it has been, to be honest. Well, it has. I mean, it's...
Well, I was going to say, I mean, if you thought you carried a bit of timber, John, during your playing time, you'd have had no chance with...
I'm fucking very sure I did.
You'd have had no chance with John because David Ginola got a Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
He wasn't in the marathon, was it?
He weren't in the marathon. Yeah, he could have been.
Is that when he scored and took his shirt off?
Yeah, against Man City.
Yeah.
He equalised in that.
Was it just a case of just giving him a bit more?
I was asked a question in a press conference about David. He looked like last week, his shorts looked a little bit tight on him last week, John. It's insinuating that, you know, he's putting on a bit of weight. And he said, yeah, his shorts looked a little bit tight on him last week, John. How is his weight at the moment? Is he fit as a butcher's dog? And I said, well, it depends which butcher you shop at, to be honest. And which, of course, made a quote the next day. It was in the Sun or something.
Yeah.
And then, of course, David scored on the Saturday and took off his shirt. And
He'd had an extra 6 minutes on the sunbed and all.
Yeah.
He was looking really well.
He'd gone for a run, I think, that morning. But, yeah, so... Yeah, there was that quote that came out about him, but again, he was another one that I got him just towards the end of his career.
Tail end, yeah.
But Doug Doug had met him in Mauritius the year before and fell in love with him. Absolutely,
He'd have been looking fantastic in Mauritius.
He fell in love with him, and he sat and he had supper with him or something, and then by the end of the night, there's about 20 people who had all come round and sat with David and. He just wanted he wanted me to sign him.
For him,
he wanted me to sign him. At the time, Doug ended up negotiating the salary with him. It was far and beyond what anyone else at the club was earning. And Merson found out about it. And then obviously Merson wants the same money.
It's your fault.
Causing problems.
But yeah, Doug, and in a way, the reason that I agreed to it in the end was it was kind of, well, you can have Ginola or nobody. You know, you kind of get that feeling. And I think maybe I can get the best out of David as a man, as a person. Sat here with you, would absolutely love him.
Would we fall in love with him?
Oh man, well maybe not sure about that bit. But you love it. You love it, how he is. I mean, he's very articulate. He's very interesting. The women. He used to come on for the last 5 minutes and get man of the match.
What votes?
Because the sponsor's wife wanted to meet him. That's usually what it was. He'd come on honestly for 5 minutes and they'd say, today's man of the match is David Ginola. And the crowd would laugh. The whole stadium would start laughing, you know, because he'd only been on 5 minutes, touched the ball twice, you know. But yeah, he was one of them that I thought maybe I might be able to get a bit more out of him than other managers.
You know, you mentioned that first season about you didn't have a new contract, about getting into Europe, and then you got to Europe.
Yeah.
Is it right that you went up to when you won the Intertoto Cup?
Yes, I sat next to him. Ginola, funnily enough, scored the 4th goal against Basel. We're now winning 5-2 on aggregate, so we're going to win. So in my contract, I got £150,000 pay increase, £3,000 a week pay increase if we qualify for the UEFA Cup. So by winning the Intertoto Cup, we qualified for the UEFA Cup. So I went down and sat next to him for the first time ever in like 4 years, and he said, "Oh, hello, Brian." John. Yes, hello, John. Everything all that. I said, good, that winning the cup and all that shit, and now we qualified for UEFA. He said, yes, it's great, isn't it? And I think he was totally unaware of the fact that he was now going to have to pay me an extra £3,000 a week, which was, £3,000 a week back in those days was a lot of money.
How long did it take him to realise?
A long time. I don't think he ever realised, but Doug was, listen, I've got a million stories about, he's just, everything was about money and saving money, and.
Did you change the dates on the chocolates?
Yes.
You what?
We used to have, in the hospitality suites, and because at Villa there's quite a few restaurants on a match day where you can eat, and we always had these little chocolates in a gold wrapping with an Aston Villa wrapping over the top, the Villa badge on it, and on the back of it was best before and a date. So, and we had about 1,000 of these chocolates, and best before and the date was 2000. It was now 2001. So obviously they're out of date. So there was an intern at the club, and she had to sit down with a gold pen, because it was in gold writing, and change the 2000 to 2002. So she used to have to put a little 2 on the end.
So you don't have to
On every chocolate?
On every chocolate. So when you picked up the chocolate, they weren't out of date. They're obviously, there's still another year for them to run. But yeah, she always did that. Anything to save money. Anything to save money. It was everything was regarding money. But we were never in debt.
Yeah.
And we would have never got relegated under Ellis. If Ellis had been the owner, the year we got relegated to the Championship, that would never have happened. He would have made sure he made the right appointment at the right time and made sure we'd stayed up in the Premier League.
Did you have regrets about leaving Villa?
Yeah, we were 7th in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I went to see Doug and Steve and told them I wanted to leave. And went. I was a bit disillusioned with Arsenal had just built a new training ground, 20 million. And I looked at our training ground, and it was brilliant in 1975. And Doug used to argue with me. He said, yes, but Bill Shankly said it's the best training ground he's ever seen. I said, yeah, that was in 1975. It's fucking 2001 now, you know what I mean? That's how it was in 1975. It was unheard of. It was unheard of to have your own training facilities, You normally train in the parks, and God knows. It was a big decision at the time, but I just felt it was the right thing to do.
I'm assuming your stock was very high, though, with you being 7.
Yeah.
Were you thinking it won't be too long until I get the call?
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe something. Obviously, I get told lots of stories since that these were watching you and that was watching you, and Fergie actually said to me one day, he said, we were looking at you. Man, he said, I know that, Man United, me thinking about how much longer I'm going to go on, and Newcastle were quite keen, I think, keeping an eye on the situation. But I ended up going to Derby, of course, which was my old club as a player, which I had lots of fond memories.
I remember Malcolm Christie, that if you came in earlier,
yeah,
you'd have stayed up.
Yeah, I was told I was going to get 10 million to spend. In 2002, it was a lot of money. 10 million was a lot of money. I went in and there wasn't any money to spend. They were 30 million in debt.
Fucking hell.
Doesn't sound a lot, but in 2002, 30 million was a lot of money. And the owner, Lionel Pickering, was a massive Derby fan all his life. He was pumping in money week after week. And in the end, they couldn't pay the salaries, and we were having to refer our salaries, just taking a proportion of it and referring the rest. And you'll get that hopefully when we stay up, and all that kind of thing. It was unbelievable. And the thing is, At Villa Park, I knew I at the job I knew everybody at the club, everybody. I knew the office staff. I knew everybody because we were all part of a team. You know, we all play your parts, no matter how small it was. And obviously, I went into Derby, and it was just such a mess. Everything was in a mess. We owed everybody. Then obviously, eventually, we couldn't pay the players. Which was a huge problem. They've obviously had it again since, haven't they?
Yeah.
But no, so that was a hell of a mess. Their wage bill was bigger than Villa's. You know?
Ravanelli will be in there, was he?
Yeah, Ravanelli was there earning stacks of money.
I imagine he was another one wandering around the training field.
Yeah, I found him okay. I found him all right. You know, if you treated him well and put on good sessions and this, that, and the other, he was fine.
Yeah,
he was fine, but he was taking so much money out of the place, and as everybody else was, there was people not even in the first team, you know, earning 15, 20 grand a week. I think 2 years after I left, the financial director at the club, who worked there 7 days a week, went to prison because he got caught with his fingers in the till.
Yeah.
This is how bad it was. And the owner, who rarely came into the club, only on a match day, I don't think he knew what was going on there half the time.
Do you regret taking it?
That in turn, you know, I regret leaving Villa. But I regret taking it because, you know, as you know, in the end, they suspended me and fired me.
And there was a court case that followed that. Was you not allowed?
We didn't go to court, though.
Oh, did you not?
There was a clause. I had a £2 million clause in my contract. If they broke it before a certain date, they got to pay me £2 million. Right. And they did. They broke it. So they should have to pay me $2 million. And they come up with all these stupid, you know, walking on the cracks in the pavement and
what reasons for
walking around with an outrageous shirt. they just made up all these stupid accusations, you know.
What is reasons to sack you?
Yeah. It never went to court though. They settled out.
Right.
Court.
And were you able to get a job straight after, or
no? I tell you what I did. They obviously they should have to pay me £2 million,
yeah.
And I knew the finances were shocking at the club, and I said, look, give me £1 million. I'll let you off. Give me £1 million instead of 2 million. Give me £1 million. You owe me 2 million. Technically, you've got to pay me 2 million, and you will have to pay me. If this goes to court, they got no chance. A few days before we were due to go to court, they settled up. They said that they agreed to it.
How long was that after you
That was
left?
about 18 months after I left. And the £1 million that they had to pay me in compensation, I allowed them to pay it over 5 years. They had to pay me £100,000 every 6 months for 5 years. And, you know, I was as good as I could be to them, to be honest.
I think you've been more than generous.
Yeah, so for 5 years, basically, I knew I had a couple of quid coming in.
Was a lot of it, though, did you think,
But it's a lot of bad.
18 months out the game?
Yeah, completely.
Or fell off the radar a little bit?
Which I didn't. I ended up going back into QPR 2006. I left Derby in 2003. So
were you wanting to get back? I know you're thinking. I
I was desperate to go back.
Was you?
Yeah. Oh
Right.
God, I'm too young, you know. And
Yeah.
and I was just thinking, you know, fuck what I had in the palm of my hands, you know, and I fucking blew it. I threw it away really when I left Villa, and then walked into Derby and up to their neck in it. I'll just tell you one quick story. On the Monday, we played on the Saturday, and I've picked a team to play on the Saturday. My first game, so I picked a team, and I picked a boy called Lee Morris, left winger. He scores the winner just before half-time, puts us 1-0 up. We win the game 1-0. Gone training Monday morning. Afternoon, I go down the ground. I've got an office at the stadium, so I go down the stadium. And I'm in the reception area, and this bloke walks in, shirt and tie, blazer. I looked at the blazer, Sheffield United. I said, oh, can I help you? He said, I've come to get my cheque. So I've gone, what's that for? I mean, I said, have you won something? Thinking, he come to get his cheque, you must have won something. I think maybe he won the raffle or something. So he says, no, Lee Morris. He played his 25th game for you on Saturday. I said, yeah. And he scored the winner. He said, yeah. He said, so you owe us 250,000.
Oh, no.
And I said, what's that? He said, no. He said, because that was his 25th match. When he was transferred, when he plays 25 games, you have to pay us 250 grand. And I went, well, it's nothing to do with me.
Not my problem.
Not my problem. My favourite saying. So anyway, I said, chief exec, second door on the right, go and see him. He'll sort you out. So obviously, no one had been playing Lee Morris because they've got to pay 250 grand.
But
so that's why he wasn't playing.
Communicated that with you.
No one said a word. Even when I sort of picked the team, no one said a word.
Do you enjoy your time abroad?
Loved it. Some places better than others. It was the only avenue left to me,
right.
I think. Going from what I had here, obviously it was after QPR. Yeah, it was really the only England had finished for me, really. I think everyone had turned their back.
Why?
Didn't really want to get involved with me.
Yeah.
Why?
It's strange, that.
No, well, it's Doug wasn't that complimentary to me after I left. I know that he went around a few boardrooms and they asked about me and he sort of warned them off, don't go there.
But it didn't seem like you had that bad of a relationship.
No, it was okay. The relationship was okay. I mean, I publicly spoke about him in not too nice terms,
Yeah.
I would say, through the media. A couple of times, I went a little bit too far than I should have done. But I always thought, that I wanted to say it how it was,
And did you feel like it was kind of, what's the word? That kind of mafia thing when you've upset somebody within the game, your cards marked?
Yeah, but I think
somebody who holds a lot of power within.
Yeah, I think it was, there was other people that probably didn't like me that much for the way that I spoke, and maybe some of the times that I spoke, other chairmen would read that I'd slagged off my chairman.
Yeah.
And they'd think, well, I don't want him coming here and having a dig at me. He doesn't seem like the kind of person that I'd get on with, maybe, so, which I did. I mean, I spoke to the Sunday Joe Lovejoy.
No.
I won't forget his name, but I sat, he come to my office one day and I sat in the office at Villa and I was telling a few stories about Doug and that, and I presumed it was all off the record, and he put it all in the Sunday Times. And of course my chairman read it all and called me up to his office and what's this? Did you say this? Did you say that? And of course I had to admit all of it.
Yep.
And he kind of warned me about my future conduct and all that, but
Just shows the power they've got, though, innit, these
well,
chairmen.
yeah.
What would you want your players to say about you? Because I know Collymore's come out and said that you were the best coach, manager he worked under.
Yeah. I kind of, I still wanted to be one of the boys, I was a player. I knew how I'd want to be treated. And I kind of wanted to treat my players, whoever they were, in the same manner. But if you ain't prepared to work hard and work hard like the rest of them do, then fuck off, go somewhere else. Bobby Robson said that to me many years ago. If you've got a problem in your dressing room, get rid of it. Let somebody else have the problem. Bobby Robson said that to me many years ago.
And did that stick with you right the way
that stayed
through?
with me a long time, yeah. With Stan in particular, because obviously the qualities that he had, he should have done better with them. He should have had 70, 80 caps for England. On his day, he was an incredible player. And I got that about 2 or 3 times out of probably 20 matches.
What was the crack Jamie Proctor said about the Turkish baths? Well, I was at massages.
Yeah.
Massages, yeah.
You used to give the players the massage.
At Derby, under Coxey, Arthur Cox, you play 3 games in a week or something like that, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, or whatever. And Monday morning you come in, obviously like stiff as a board, whatever. After training, you come back, it'd massage for everybody. A soap massage. So you go into the bathroom, get a couple of, the benches, the medical benches.
Yeah.
Put them in there, and there'd be Gordon Guthrie, the physio, Roy McFarland, assistant manager, and Arthur Cox, manager. That was the staff. That was it.
In the rubs.
What
I'm saying is that was the staff. 3 people. That's all we had. 3 members of staff. No one else. 3 members of staff, and they ran the first team and the reserves. Those 3 people. And anyway, we go in, and it would be soap massage. So after training, you go in there, and you go in there obviously with a pair of pants on, and you had to lay on the bed, and they'd get a bucket of water, chuck it over you, hot water, chuck it over you, and then start the soap massage. Bar of soap, couple of bars of soap, and then the manager would give you the massage, and there was no gay thoughts or anything like that. I mean, there was none of that whatsoever.
Gaffer. Steady on.
So no, I mean, it was just like geezers together, you know? And the manager would give you soap massages, and you used to think, fuck me, you know, this is the gaffer and this is the manager of the club, and he's getting you ready for either Wednesday night or the following weekend or whatever. Giving you soap massages. We might have done them at Crawley. I can't.
Must have done, because Jamie said.
Yeah, I might have done that. But that's where I took it from. I took it from Arthur.
He spoke very highly of you as a manager and as a man. But he did say he used to enjoy you standing on the halfway line, stirring out the opposition before the game.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Definitely.
something that you...
I used to, I remember when I was working with Brian Little, he was the manager, and we'd go out and the 2 teams were in the tunnel. And I was a bit of a, I was first team coach, so I could get away with it. And I used to say, "Oh, lads, get plenty of fucking crosses. This keeper's fucking useless." And he stood where you are, like 2 yards. I said, "He's fucking useless." And the left back, fuck me, he's so fucking slow. Get it out of Stoney or whatever, and make sure he takes him on. And so I used to be very
Little psychological wins.
Yeah, just in the tunnel, and you think the goalies think, oh, "Fuck me, he knows I'm shit on crosses." So anything just to get that little gain an advantage somewhere. Yeah, so yeah, that used to happen a lot, and I did it with Crawley. You stay. I actually got Jack Grealish taken off once. He was on loan at Notts County from Villa. So this would be about 2014. He must have been about 19 at the time, something like 18, 19. Anyway, so he's playing for Notts County. So Grealish is playing. I'm in the dugout. And whenever he come near me, I said, "Fucking Jack Grealish, Aston Villa. Fucking rubbish. No wonder they've fucking sent you out to Notts County." Fucking just, sorry, I'm right in his ear. So whenever he come in front of me, I said, "Fuck, you call yourself a fucking Villa player? No wonder they don't fucking want you up there, let you out on loan." Getting into him. They take him off, substitute him. And he went home and told his dad. And his dad spoke to one of my friends. I can't think who it was. He spoke to one of my friends, said, "Hey, what about your mate Gregory having a pop at my Jack?" So my mate said, "Took him off though, didn't they?"
As if he's gone home to his dad.
Yeah, it's gone over his dad. It's gone over his dad.
Nasty manager. Crawling.
So yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that. Yeah. So any of that, any verbals. I mean,
did you used to like getting into Wenger and when you were at the Villa?
Getting into him?
Just, little mind games and
no,
anything
I can't
like
remember
that.
sort of ever saying anything to him. And Alex, I was just scared of Fergie, so I wouldn't say nothing to him. He came to Villa Park once, League Cup match, and he played, I think it was Ronnie Johnson. He played him as a centre-half that night, and we went 1-0 up at half-time. And I don't know if you remember the old Villa Park, before they changed that main stand, Trinity Road stand, the steps down to the pitch, there was about fucking 100 steps that went from the tunnel. When you went into the tunnel, you had to climb up like about 3 fucking floors. And Fergie started on Ronnie Johnson. He met him at the bottom of the stairs, half-time, and he just slaughtered him all the way up these stairs to the top of the stairs. He was, "You ever going to head a fucking ball? And you ever going to do this? You're fucking shit. I'll be fucking sending you back," and all this. And I'm thinking, fuck me. No one's ever spoke to me like that before, But that's how he was, yeah. But no, I was very, I respected Fergie enormously for what he, even in 2000, he just won the treble in '99. So it sort of set a benchmark for everybody to try and follow. And he was just he was just the best at that particular time, I think. So I had huge respect for him. So no, I was nervous of him being in this company.
What does the future hold? Would you be going back?
No,
Get back in?
No, I don't think so.
Abroad?
Maybe abroad. I mean, I still get the calls and that, to go to various places, but
You don't seem as enthusiastic about managing now.
No, I
as you
would.
did looking back at the
no.
early years.
I just think it comes with time and age. 69 now. People look at CVs. and think,
Good for six. I didn't realise you were 69.
69, yeah. 1954.
Yeah, I think it's time to chill out now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gone beyond anything I'd ever thought it ever would for myself. Just when we first sort of started out, and the association with Villa has remained really, since I left, which is quite special in many respects. I still go up and do sort of one night stands and that, do a Villa night.
I've had a few with them.
It's a long time since
Not
I've been
quite
one of
like
them.
that.
Do you know lads who are coming out of the game now? Would you recommend going into coaching and management?
Yeah, definitely. But prepare yourself. We spoke earlier of people that have just suddenly gone straight in it. And you think you know what, you don't know. Honestly, you don't know. You don't know what goes on in your life. Your life changes. You just, I whilst I was working, I'd sit there watching a movie on a Saturday night, at home, we just got beat. And it finishes and it'd be like, oh, what do you think of that then? And I think, oh, what happened? It's like...
Your brain's elsewhere.
no, I'm just thinking about training the next day or, fuck me, we lost. Shit, I'm going to have to make some changes next week. On the winning side, like I said earlier, you're 10 times better than when you were a player, 10 times better. And it lasts for a couple of hours Saturday night and then you switch over, you're ready for next week. You're thinking, oh shit, where are we going next week? You've already started thinking about training tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. And the whole job just takes over your life, 100%.
See, that's why it'd never be for me.
No,
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 never
You've got
fancied
this
it.
job, haven't you, John? Sat here in your pants, no socks and shoes on. Why would you need to do it?
Exactly.
Well, cheers, John.
Yeah,
Thank you
appreciate
very much
it.
for coming
Well
on.
done.
Incredible
Very
story.
much appreciated.
Appreciate you sharing it with us.
yeah, good.
Cheers, thank you.
Mr. John Gregory. Enjoy it.
Really liked him, did you?
Yeah, very, very much so, yeah.
What about the massages? I think we should do that. Bit of team bonding. Massage each other.
I don't know where I got. I think I said Turkish baths at the start, didn't I?
Yeah, but it was.
And the colour
it was
drained
a
out of your
soap-
cheeks.
It was a soapy one.
Was it?
Yeah, because have you had one of them Turkish?
I've
when
had
I
one,
went
actually.
Turkey, it's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it like mud? The mud bath?
No, it's just bubbles.
Suds.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they end up like just wanging buckets of red hot water on
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sud you up and then.
you. I think if you're going to do it, just massages. I'm not bothered about getting each other lubed up and that.
Well, I want oil in.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, best butter on my back.
Look like a fucking dead chicken. Get in the oven. No, I'm not.
Have you never had a manager massage you?
I can't say I have.
Oh,
Nah.
I think I might have
you used to do all squad.
like feel your leg and that. It must have treatment table.
Nah.
That'd be all right. That.
Well, Saunders used to do it.
Well,
If you were injured, he played with a worse injury.
We need to,
Roll his leg up, show you his scars. See?
It's good too. Man at match. Score 1-2-0.
we need to talk because we've finished the story that he told us that he was absolutely. Mind blown.
The excitement level were through the roof, weren't it?
I wish we'd have got it on camera. I wish we'd have got it. So he was saying that he'd come back for a match with his two grandsons.
Yeah, so they're in the services on our way back from a game. Starving, weren't they?
He never had a KFC, which surprised me.
Does it look like a KFC man?
No, but everybody's had a KFC, haven't they? You
But
know,
as he was telling the
popcorn
story,
chicken.
he was wanting to make sure that everybody was listening.
Yeah.
All four of us. He kept making eye contact with you, Matty, as if like,
you were packing up and he, no, listen.
wait.
But he never had a KFC, and then they got to the what he
Services.
described as a massive iPad, I think, didn't he?
With his was it his grandson?
With his grandkids.
It was like Marty McFly had just gone to 2050, and he flew into the future, and his mind had been blown by the technology that was now available.
He says it weren't even at the counter. It was like 10 yards behind the counter.
He were going, and then there's this big iPad, and then you just choose what you want. And and then I'd put a Coke on. I didn't want a Coke, and my son come on, he deleted them, no problem. And then they give you a number, you just stand there. Next minute, your food comes.
No, I think he said. And then all of a sudden, my number's on the screen.
Pointed to the imaginary
It's on the screen. My grandkids are like, Granddad, what are you doing?
Before I know it, I'm sat down eating chicken.
And it was nice, he said. He enjoyed it. And it was just like, as though it had totally blown his mind, weren't it? I've got my receipt and there's a number at the top, and next thing, it's on the screen.
I think he couldn't believe that there was crowds of people, but when his number came up, it was his turn.
Yeah.
So he felt like he was queue jumping.
Barging through.
Barber,
Out the way, 674, out the way.
Do you remember on the way home, after recording him, we got a photo, didn't we?
Oh, we got away
Put
with
it up on screen. Put it up on
So
screen.
happy, wasn't he?
Put it in your mind that you wanted one, didn't it?
Yeah. I know,
I
I've
think we
got to
got
dig in.
6 laughing faces back from him. He loved it. He loved it.
But that Villa era,
Yeah.
They had some
I was
big-
probably
they had
12, 13. And
They had some big dogs,
I
by
know.
the way.
Ginola.
Proper big dogs.
That popped up the other day, you know, when he whipped his top off, Ginola. And he's more ripped than what I remember.
Yeah.
Tanned as well.
I always just remember Ginola doing Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes. He did Raindrops Are Falling on My Head. No, not watch it.
No.
I think he regrets leaving Villa, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think he regrets leaving Villa.
Yeah, definitely. What he was
And probably
achieving
taking the
as well.
Derby job.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it? Managers of that are just always not just on the cusp of achieving something at a club and then disappear.
I remember to be fair though, they used to pay some big dough, you know.
Yeah.
My agent were a Villa fan. Remember him telling me, you know, apart from the top 4, Villa were the next sort of big payers in the Premier League back then.
I can imagine. And they were up there, weren't they, under him?
It's scandalous, really. They when ended up going down, money they've paid out in the past. I suppose Everton have been the same, haven't they? Any other news, gents?
No,
Anything else
Chris.
going down?
Quiet times.
You've been on holiday again, John, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't know what it is with my mind, but just keep fucking.
You're actually on holiday now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on holiday. I'm enjoying
Again.
myself.
Again.
Yeah, I'm on holiday
Keep dropping it.
again.
Again.
Yeah,
Outrageous.
yeah, fuck
You had
yeah.
a timeshare?
No, but fuck yeah. I'm really enjoying myself. Pool's not open still, but we found an hotel next door, so we're just using their pool.
Very nice.
I think I've took.
I hope you don't get in. Because you're saying, and we're using their pay. I hope they're saying, oh, have you got keys?
I've got
sir?
6.
Are you
different-
are you a resident here, sir?
I've got 6 different colours, all inclusive bands. So if it's not one of them 6, it's fucking very unlucky, innit?
Thing is, I remember you were on the phone to Katie trying to say to her, we're going to have to go to another hotel. And your reasoning was, if Baldy and Brownie can go to the Doubletree Hilton and have a breakfast every morning when we're in Qatar, we can go to another pool.
You'll be pushing her in. Go on, you go first. You go first. You go and put towels on, lunches. I'll come in a minute.
Kids in back. Go on, you go first. Go and put them
We'll
towels
see you
down
down
there.
there in 10 minutes.
Are you going to take you to Rebo West, the Nike number?
Night vest. I might take it just for lounging around the apartment.
Because you did say that she doesn't like you wearing it.
No, she don't like me in my vest.
It's a beauty as well.
What more do you want
I don't know.
from a vest?
And
Got everything in it. Shows your arms off.
can we Katie on this one?
Yeah, it's not pretty, is it? Yeah, especially when it's got a bit of food down it as well,
Oh.
which it normally has.
Right, how with them?
Yes, thanks for watching, as always. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. And if you're not yet to Patreon, get involved. 2 extra episodes a month. Anything else? Any more?
No? Have you cleaned your glasses?
Yeah.
Look.
Well, they look printy.
Yeah, no, they just look clean.
But I could see through them.
I can, yeah.